There's a moment in every person's life, if they're lucky, where the universe grabs you by the collar and says, "This is not all there is." I think tonight, Ruby and I tell you about ours. Welcome to the God Signal. I'm Mo, Breathwork guide, seeker, builder of strange and beautiful things. And with me is my beautiful spiritual seeker and partner in all things mystical and real, Ruby. Hey, Ruby.
Hey, Mo. Hello, world. And to everyone listening and seeking higher wisdom and knowledge, that's our people. We're here to sit with the real questions, the ones that rearrange your life when you let them in. Tonight, we start at the beginning, the moment that broke us open. No credentials, no theory, just what actually happened.
Nothing is off limits, right? So let's go.
So, Mo, tell me about the first time something happened to you that you couldn't explain with the mind that you had at the time.
I was raised in a beautiful religious household by a loving mother and father in the deserts of Doha, Qatar. Growing up amongst Arabs, Norwegians, Indians, and having so many other cultures of the world gave me a primer to being a world-class citizen. I started picking and choosing bits and pieces of all cultures, things I like to work with. However, I clearly remember one time praying. Prayer was my container to connect with other dimensions. Something just left me, like my body became transparent. I could feel, and I mean feel, not think, that I was connected to everything in the room, the walls, the air, other people praying besides being their energies. There was no separation at that time.
And how old were you?
8. And I had zero language to this thing that was going on. I didn't know what meditation was, what mysticism was. I just knew something had happened that the adults around me couldn't explain. And that kind of scared me, like, which meant I learned very quickly and I kept it quiet.
That's the suppression of the first opening. And it happens to so many people at such a young age.
Exactly. And here's what no one tells you, that suppression kind of creates pressure, because the soul doesn't stop having experiences just because you stop talking about them. Keeps knocking, gets louder every time, if anything. And my experiences just got stranger, more frequent, kind of like a cognitive ESP skill set. I'd know things I had no reason to know. And I just kept filing them away in the back of my head.
So, what did you do with all of that, all of those filed away experiences?
Well, I think I became really good at compartmentalization. I used to just like very skilled at it. I'd have these moments, these ruptures in ordinary reality, and then I'd just, do what I do best: close the door, go back to whatever I'm supposed to be doing, get good grades, study, be responsible, ride my bicycle around the neighborhood, build a normal life.
Until you couldn't.
Yeah, until I couldn't. I just hit a wall, life-wise, emotionally, spiritually. Everything was like compressing at once. And in that compression, I remembered that experience at 8, and I thought that was real. That was more real than most of what I'm doing right now. So I started seeking, not casually, but obsessively. I started getting into like Tantra, Kriya Yoga, breath work, Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, visualization practices. I think I became what I call a collector of like direct experiences.
A collector of direct experience. That phrase is going to stay with me.
Yeah. And I think the distinction matters. I don't think I was just collecting beliefs. I wasn't shopping for a philosophy that felt comfortable. I wanted to know, like, directly in my body, in my nervous system, what was actually real. And I guess every religion or tradition I went into, no matter how different the form, pointed to the same thing.
Which is,
I think that consciousness is primary, that awareness is not produced by the brain, but it's something what the brain is swimming in. And once you know that, once you felt it, you cannot just simply unknow it. So let's switch hats a little bit here. Your turn. What kind of cracked you open?
so mine started much earlier than most people. might expect. I was an extremely sensitive kid. So sensitive to energy, to other people's emotions. I would soak and absorb other people's emotions and energy. So to things happening in a room that nobody was talking about. And being the oldest of four, I felt this weight of not wanting to burden anyone with what was going on inside me. So I just suppressed it like you.
So like the oldest child pattern, maybe like you became the one that held everything together.
Right, exactly. You become competent, you become reliable, and somewhere in that, you stop paying attention to your own interior world.
Mm.
But the sensitivity didn't go away like you. It just turns into other things like an inability to concentrate, feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness, this chronic sense of something being off that I just couldn't name.
So when did you first start trying to name it?
On and off from about 13, but I really gave it serious attention in my later 20s. And what cracked it open for me was unexpected. It was astrology. I started noticing my mood patterns, and I realized that they were connected to the moon cycles, which sent me looking into my birth chart, my cosmic energy map, as I like to call it.
It's kind of interesting because people often dismiss astrology as so superficial, like, but looks like you're describing it as a first serious kind of a mirror.
That's exactly what it was for me. Not a prediction system or not 100%. It's a mirror, kind of like a pointer to give some form of guidance, like an energetic anchor.
Mm.
So for the first time, I had a map that said, here's maybe why you feel this way. Here's why you move through the world like this. And here's the blueprint underneath the surface. And that was the beginning of a much larger question, which was if this map exists, what else is real that I haven't been I've been told isn't?
So like a domino effect, once one thing falls, everything else is available for questioning, I guess.
Right, and that's terrifying to most people because the map, the materialist map, the consciousness is just a brain chemistry map. It's not just a belief, it's the architecture of your identity. To question that is to question yourself.
Wow. So the anomaly, the astrology, the mood patterns, the felt sense that something else is operating, does it become like a threat or?
Until you realize it's a gift.
Hmm.
It took me years to come to that realization.
Yeah, and I think yet the anomaly is exactly that, right? It's the crack where the light gets in.
That line again, that's the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Here's what I want to put to you. I think like awakening experiences, the ones that disrupt the foundations we were programmed with, they're not random, right? I think consciousness is seeking itself through us. We believe we're the ones that's doing the seeking. What if it was the other way around?
That we're the instruments, not the players. To have a childlike innocence, curiosity, and wonder.
Exactly. And what if, like, Source, whatever name you choose to give it, design these cracks intentionally and specifically, for specific people at specific moments in time and history?
The mystical framework for this is extraordinary. The soul as a fragment of divine light that anchors, that aches to return to its origin,
Mhm.
and the awakening experience, whether it comes through prayer or grief or astrology or plant medicine. It's the moment of recognition. Oh, I know this. I've always known this.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the word the mystics use is called yearning. Like, the soul is yearning constantly, and the world's or ordinary consensus realities built specifically to muffle that yearning. So many distortions, distractions, people projecting their inadequacies onto you, projecting their fears, traumas, lower emotions.
Which is why what we're doing here feels so important, right? Not because we have all the answers, but because we're choosing to focus on remembering instead of allowing distortions and distractions to keep us from remembering who we really are.
That's exactly it. I mean, so this show, what you just said, is a small act of remembering every week, I guess.
I love that. That's what it is, exactly.
Hmm. And I think that more and more people are ready to remember and that the world would have us believe, like that's what the signal is for, I guess, right?
Right.
So before we go, one sentence each, like what would you like to tell your pre-awakening self? The version of you before that first crack.
The feelings that you keep dismissing, your sensitivities, your desires, the things you bury so you don't burden anyone with, that's the truest guidance we have. So trust them.
I agree. And that we have a choice to change whatever we want, right? We are the creators of our own reality, and we can choose to change that at any given point of time.
I love that.
So, what about next episode?
So, next episode, we go somewhere stranger. Mo and I talk about psychedelics, not recreationally, ceremonially, what the medicine shows you, what it breaks open, and how you actually come back from it.
Awesome, awesome. But before we leave you all, we want to let you know some of the services that we have here in Durham, North Carolina. I run a breathwork and sound healing studio, and
And I run a holistic wellness center. So you can check this out on padmabreathwork.com and weareslr.com. And the links will be in the description below. We also sell online courses for breathwork and spiritual life coaching sessions, which you can buy for yourself or give to your friends and family, whoever you think needs it.
well, as you know, I've also written a children's wellness book called Juma the Jaguar. It's available on Amazon. It's a breathwork adventure for kids to conquer fear, find calm,
I'm almost finished with my book titled Freedom is Within, which talks about my journey and how I encountered my divine counterpart. No.
and my divine counterpart, Ruby. So if you found this episode, at the right moment, share it. Someone in your world needs this signal.
Right. And thank you for being here.
Until next time, stay open, stay awake.
And
The
the
God
God
signal is always broadcasting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And let us know your comments or what kind of things you want to see in future. We'd love to, kind of talk about those topics. But thanks for your love and stay real.